Hi Daniel, how you doing? I have your poster right here, and I want to talk a little bit about it. I read your I read your Word doc that you did, where you wrote about the reasoning behind the poster. Everything makes perfect sense. There's a couple of things I want to talk about in terms of poster design in general, as well as our assignment here. So, generally in poster design, you're going to have really only one of four different approaches. You're going to have a photographic approach, which is pretty obvious. Then you would have a typographic approach again, which would be the where the emphasis would be on the typography. And then you would have an illustrative approach, and then you would have a kind of a hybrid sort of approach. This should be an illustrative approach, but it's not. Well, it is kind of, but it's not really. Okay, let me explain. So in your portfolio, which you did mention in your writing, and that's good that you're thinking towards portfolio. That's excellent. In your portfolio, there are certain requirements and there are certain expectations that any hiring manager or any portfolio reviewer are going to expect to see in your portfolio. And the department here at RMCAD knows that, and that's why the portfolio recommendations and requirements are set up as such, so that you have a good cross reference, a cross section of the skills and the things that you've learned here while at school. So one of those things is illustration, vector illustration, and the way that that's chosen to be represented in your final portfolio is going to be through this piece. So that said, I think that it's really important to understand what is actually an illustrative approach. What you have here is this cutout feature or this live trace. I'm not sure which. I think it was a cutout. Same difference. Either way, we can't use it. It's a one-click trick, and it's not any good. There's never any time or place you should expect in a illustration class to be able to use a filter or a live trace feature, and it's a great way to set something up, but it's a great way to experiment and run some tests, but not for a final piece. It's just not going to be a good representation of your illustrative skills or what you've learned through this class in digital illustration. Okay, that said, I'd like you to change your approach. I want you to do a little more visual research, and I want you to actually illustrate the background yourself. Don't use photographs, don't use anything, illustrate. You might have to do some visual research here. I think you will. Think about, I think the obvious thought that comes to mind is the Hope poster. Okay, sorry about that. I think I was about to say that the obvious example for comparison would be the Hope poster from Shepard Fairey for the Obama campaign. So, that was a highly evolved and highly developed illustration that began with a photograph. So I've got no problem beginning with a photograph and turning it into an illustration, but this isn't just, if you want to take a stab at illustrating this, that's awesome. It can be done. I would say take this part here and the few front faces and maybe stop right around here, but you're going to have to illustrate those faces. You can't use this cutout, which means it's going to be some work. I think this could be interesting. This right here is pretty interesting. So you got a lot of things to think about. And don't feel like that you're pressured to come up with your final right now. These are steps that we take in the direction. This one happens not to work. As far as what I would say we're looking for recommendations for requirements for this kind of illustrative piece, vector illustration for your portfolio. So if you have any questions, give me a call. But I highly recommend that you change your stance. If you want a little more time, feel free. I can stretch grades for a couple of days for you here, but I got to get something in soon. So I'd like to at least hear from you or hear some new ideas. Okay, thanks, Daniel.